Welcome to Inside AFCON 2025 on Citi 97.3. I'm Gabi Affair. Welcome aboard to our daily episode of the 2025 AFCON. Well, there are no games today, but we are here to run you through all the updates right on 97.3. Preview reviews. The games will return later tomorrow. It's round 2 of the 2025 AFCON. I'm Gabi Affair. Feel free to join the conversation. You can send in your thoughts on the WhatsApp line 0539 986 996. 0539 986 996. Well, later on Friday, the games will return. 12:30 p.m. there's Angola taking on Zimbabwe. At 3 p.m. Egypt will take on South Africa, and then at 5:30 there's Zambia up against Comoros. One Africa, one goal. Then the final game for Friday is host nation Morocco taking on Mali. From the mountains to the shore, we play for pride, we roar for. But just in case you missed out on the games yesterday, let's just do a quick recap. And let's start off with Cameroon, who beat Gabon by 1-0.
Boom, picking the ball up, gets in front of his man. There's a nice little ball. Good chance for Cameroon! Oh, they got the goal! The goal's been given? You saw it, didn't need VAR. No need for it. There are the celebrations. And how about that?
Alright, so Cameroon opened their 2025 African Cup of Nations with a 1-0 win over Gabon in Group F. Played at the Adra Stadium in Agadir last night. Well, Manchester United's Brian Mbeumo grabbed an assist in that game. Carl Eta Young with the only goal for the indomitable Lions at the AFCON. One Africa, one goal. So we'll be looking at the games that were played yesterday, and they'll also review round 1 matches. Which country impressed you the most at the AFCON? And also look at Egypt. Is this Mo Salah's best chance of winning the AFCON title with Egypt? You know, Egypt are the most decorated country. They won the AFCON 7 times. Then our final one will be how World Cup's AFCON changes affect African football. You can send your thoughts. I've got Yahweh Jaminta and Kobna Mafo in studio with me. Remember that the next AFCON will be in 2027, which will be hosted by Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda. And then in 2028, that's when we start the 4 years cycle stuff, as announced by CAF President Dr. Patrice Motsepe. Let me welcome my guest. I've got Kobna in studio. Kobna, good to see you. Merry Christmas. You're looking good.
Thank you. Many happy returns. Merry Christmas to our listeners and those watching us on YouTube.
How's today been for you?
Oh, it's been okay.
It's been okay.
Yeah.
Chew some chicken.
Okay. Some small chicken be. But we just thank God for how far he has brought us. It's been some way 2025, but God
2025 has been a year.
Yeah, but
it's been some year.
Yeah, but God has been good to us.
All right. Come on, let's start off. Let's start off with the matches, the final games that were played yesterday. Today there are no games, so I think I'm actually struggling to understand the rationale behind CAF's decision to not have any game today. I mean, it's the first time we played a game, the AFCON, in December. You know, normally the AFCON takes place in January to February. I'm sure, they want to observe the holiday, give the players some chance. They can reach out to their family, do some FaceTime with their family and all of that. So that's what I'm thinking, though. But yesterday we had the final game. It was between Cameroon, who played Gabon. That game ended 1-0. And then Ivory Coast also beat Mozambique. That game also ended 1-0. Algeria, the Desert Foxes, they beat Sudan by 3-0. Because up here, Sudan. And then there was Burkina Faso, who were 2-1 winners over Equatorial Guinea. Let's start off with the last game. That saw Cameroon beat Gabon by 1-0. Just quick thoughts about that game. I think it was a really good game. And I said this, I was thinking about this, that if Cameroon had to perform, the rest of the players would have to be at the same wavelength with Brian Mbeumo. He was really good yesterday for Cameroon. I don't know what you have to say about that.
Okay, it was a good performance from both sides. Despite Gabon losing by 1-0, they did so well. To me, I even felt like the result wasn't a fair result because I felt like they could have even played a draw or even had 1 point in the game because they played very well against Cameroon. But Cameroon, they did the most important thing by winning and getting the 3 point, and that was very good from them. Brian Mbeumo also did so well in the game. He was able to go forward, able to give the assist in the early minutes of the game, and that was very good from Cameroon. I just feel like the Gabonese need to just be calm. They just need to take their chances because yesterday they had a lot of chances that I felt like they could have scored a lot of goals against Cameroon. At least they could have even equalized the early goal from Cameroon, but unfortunately for them, the attacking prowess of Gabon wasn't really good, and I can say they really miss Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, where I felt like
he was younged off in the 35th minute, I believe.
So you see, he wasn't fully fit before this AFCON. So it's also one thing that I'm sure maybe they had to just check to see because I'm sure the injury also came in again. So it was a very good one for Cameroon getting the 3 point, and I'm sure Gabon the subsequent games, but they are in a group that have Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, and Mozambique. And that's a very big one. So that is when you have to do or do your best to be able to get the point. Because I feel like the last group, that's the group F, is like the group of death. Because you have the likes of Cote d'Ivoire, you have Cameroon, you have Gabon, you have Mozambique. So this is a very tough group that if you want to qualify from that group, you need to put in a lot of good performance. And that's what Cameroon did yesterday against Gabon.
Great stuff. Let's move on to the next game. We had Cote d'Ivoire also beating Mozambique by 1-0. Then again, the quality of Amad Diallo, cool finish. Yesterday, I raised this question that a large chunk of the players who have scored at the AFCON this season, a large chunk of them played their club football in the PL. So Amad Diallo was the latest to add to the list of the other players who have performed for their countries one way or the other, who played their football in the PL. Just quick thoughts on him, and do you think he can carry this Ivorian team to the latter stages of the tournament? Let's not forget they are the defending champions of the AFCON. Well, just quick thoughts on that game too.
Yeah, a very good performance from Cote d'Ivoire. I just felt like they could have even scored more goals in the game. You see, as a player, when you have a lot of minutes and a lot of game time in your club football, you're able to, when you come to the national team. And let's not forget, the last time when they won the AFCON, their best player at the AFCON was what? Simon Adingra. Yeah, he's not part of. It's not. No, you can't blame them you can't blame the coach very well because Simon Adingra is not even getting a lot of minutes in Sunderland. When he moved from Brighton to Sunderland, we all thought at maybe Sunderland he's going to get a lot of playing time, but unfortunately for him, he's not getting a lot of playing time. But for Amad Diallo, it's very good for him because when you look at the game time that he's having at Manchester United, he's really helping him a lot. He's boosting his confidence, and that's very good from him because he's a very good player. And Cote d'Ivoire, defending champions, winning by 1-0 was a very good start for you to just help you if you want to defend the title that you won in 2023. There was one player who did so well, Diomande. He played so well yesterday for Cote d'Ivoire. That was a brilliant performance from Cote d'Ivoire. I just felt like they could have scored more goals in that game against Mozambique because in this tournament you just need to be scoring a lot of goals so that at least when it's time for maybe you have the same number of points, you'll be able to just go through. So it's a very big one. It'll come down to the number of goals scored. That is it. So I just feel like they could have scored more against Mozambique, but notwithstanding, they've been able to get a 3 point, and that's the most important thing that they did against Mozambique. Okay. So that's the word on Ivory Coast beating Mozambique by 1-0. Let me take your thoughts on Algeria. They beat appear Sudan by 3-0. Yeah, you and I were watching that game yesterday, and we were on radio at the same time when the game was happening. I don't know, did you see that scoreline coming, the 3-0 scoreline? And again, if you can touch on Mahrez's experience in the team, do you think he can, or he is the man to lead the Desert Foxes to yet maybe the finals of the AFCON this year?
Did I expect a 3-0 win? No, I expected maybe a 2-0 win. I think 3-0 was a bit of a stretch considering the way the Sudanese played in that game. But the difference between what I expected and what eventually happened or turned out was just, in terms of the scoreline, was just a difference of 1 goal. Yeah. And honestly, I can easily tie that 1 goal difference down to the the dismissal of the Sudanese player in the first half. I think once that dismissal came in, it made things a little bit easier for Algeria to be able to go on ahead and get those 2 extra goals, because at the time it happened, Algeria were leading by 1-0, and so I expected a 2-0 win over Sudan, not a 3-0 win. But looking at how things panned out, I can definitely make a deduction that yes, that red card or that dismissal played a vital role or a big role in Algeria getting that 3-0 win over Sudan. I'm not surprised by the win. I mean, I expected Algeria to beat Sudan. Looking at the vast difference in quality and the depth in the quality of the Algerians, and so this was a case where Kwesi Appiah was going up against a very, very good coach in Vladimir Petkovic, and so there wasn't a situation where you could see Sudan shocking the other big team because, or maybe Kwesi Appiah outcoached the opposing team. No, I didn't see that situation happening. And yes, indeed, it went as expected. So no surprise there. The only bit of let me say surprise or something that felt a little bit out of line or went a little bit overboard was the score line. That was 3-0. I expected to, but all in all, it was a very good game, and Sudan competed well despite them going down by a man. And looking at Riyad Mahrez, I think
he's what?
Yeah, I think
34.
Yeah, he's 34, 35, 33. Yeah,
and the goals he scored were like proper Riyad Mahrez goals.
Yeah,
right?
And the thing is, look, do I think he can take over a game as he used to? I don't think so at this point in his career. And look, that was against Sudan. They gave him a lot of space. He had a lot of room to maneuver. The timing of the goals were key. Early in the game, Sudan didn't look too settled.
Yeah.
Then that was when he scored his first goal. Then his second came after the dismissal. And at that time, Sudan, they were leaving a lot of gaps and a lot of openings for the Algerians. And he exploited those openings to get the second goal. So, yeah, he looked good. But like I said, what I saw and what I've seen from him over the past couple of months, I don't think he's that same guy who can take over a game and put the game on his back and do it consistently in such testing conditions. Looking at the tournament, how it's played, how physical it is with the AFCON and all. So, yeah, he had a great game. He had a great outing. But I just don't see him being the same guy he was in 2019, which is expected.
Okay.
I mean,
is it together with the other striker in Buneja?
Yes.
After what he did in 2019.
No, you see, that's the thing. They are still relying on those guys. And they are not the same.
Okay.
They are not the same. Physically, they've dropped off a little bit.
Yeah.
And on top of that, opposing teams are game planning for them.
Yeah,
and so, I just don't see them being able to really get to the final four. I think their best will be a quarterfinal appearance.
Yeah. And I think after they won the AFCON in 2019, they've really gone through the trenches. I mean, they've
he mentioned it. Riyad Mahrez mentioned it in his post-game presser that it was important that they got a win in their opening game, because the past 2 editions they hadn't been able to get a win in their opening games, and so
that's 2021 and 2023.
Yes, they getting a win in their opening game was more or less, I wouldn't say a big deal, but an important hurdle that they managed to scale.
Okay. Great stuff. Guys, when we come back, we'll talk about Egypt and if Salah also, I mean, similar situation with what Mahrez is doing in Algeria. If Salah can carry this Egyptian team all the way to an 8th AFCON title. This is the Inside AFCON 2025, 97.3. I'm Gabby, your friend in studio with Yao, with Jamie Inta, and Kobino Mafo. You can also join the conversation, sending your thoughts on the WhatsApp line 0539969996. And let me just run you through the group stages after the end of round 1 matches. For Group A, Morocco top with 3 points, Mali second with 1, Zambia same 1 point, and Comoros last in that group with 0. For Group B, there's Egypt taking on South Africa. They are in action later tomorrow. Both have 3 points after winning their first games. Angola and Zimbabwe do have 0 points. And then Tunisia is in Group C, top of that group, together with Nigeria second, Tanzania follow third, and then Uganda fourth in Group C. Group D has got Senegal, who are topping that group with 3 points. DR Congo second, Benin third, Botswana fourth. And then Group E has got Algeria, Burkina Faso, Equatorial Guinea, and Sudan. So Algeria with 3 points, Burkina Faso with 3, Equatorial Guinea with 0, same with Sudan. And for Group F, there is Ivory Coast leading that group, 3 points, Cameroon 3, Gabon 0, and then Mozambique also on 0 points. If we look at the table for the best third place teams right now, it's beginning to take shape. I mean, based on the results that have come in so far, and so Zambia are topping the table now as it stands. Angola second, and Equatorial Guinea are fourth, and Equatorial Guinea are third, Tanzania fourth. So this is based on the number of goals they have conceded. And if you look at that table, Zambia do have
1 point.
Yeah, 1 point in that group. Goal difference of 0, and then the rest have -1. So you can understand why they're topping. But yeah, let me start off with you. Let's talk about Egypt and Mo Salah. After his performance, the conversation came up again. Can he guide his team to an 8th AFCON title? Let's not stress on.
I don't think.
You don't think so?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Why?
Off the bats, I don't think so, because I see more teams, quite a handful of teams, being more well-rounded and deeper than Egypt, and including my picks for the title winners. That's DR Congo, that's South Africa, Senegal, to an extent Morocco. Yes, I see them as more well-rounded and deeper in terms of quality than Egypt. And it's just like the Riyad Mahrez situation. I don't see him being able to take over a game like he did some years back. And we watched that game against Zimbabwe. We got the evidence that we needed. Yes, you can say it's just one game, but it was more than enough evidence based on what we've seen so far at Liverpool, with Salah at Liverpool, and even during the qualifiers. Taking over a game, it will come and go, but it wouldn't be as consistent as it used to be for Mo Salah when playing for Egypt. And even that goal that he scored, he ghosted throughout the game, and then he came in and he popped up and he scored that goal. That's what legends do. That's what champions do. But you look at the goal that he scored, it wasn't like one of those unsavable goals, or it wasn't a screamer. It was a goal that should have been saved by the Zimbabwe goalkeeper, and he fumbled it, the chance to do so. And so, all of those things give me more than enough evidence to believe that, no, I don't see Egypt being able to make a deep run in the tournament, and Mo Salah being able to more or less single-handedly lead this Egyptian team to make that deep run. So I just don't see it on both ends.
Okay, Kobina, where do you stand on this? Don't you think that the whole episode at Liverpool would force him to prove a point with his lads at Egypt? He's got the help of Mamouche, who is also good for Egypt.
I don't really think so, because when you check the strength of the Egyptians, they are not as strong as
they used to be.
And also when you even compare them to the other teams, as he has said, the likes of even DR Congo, Senegal, Morocco, even South Africa that will be meeting tomorrow. If you check the strength of these 4 teams, it's very, very difficult for you to even compare Egypt to them. I can even add Cote d'Ivoire to it, because I feel like Cote d'Ivoire has even a stronger team than the Egyptians. For Mo Salah, it's very difficult, because in the game against Zimbabwe, he wasn't really in the game. He just had to come in. As I understand that as a big player, you just need to step up when they really need you a lot, and he did that. But his impact in that game wasn't felt so much. It was Mamouche that we saw him trying to get the chances, trying to at least get the goals, which he had one to equalize for Egypt. So when you check the Egypt national team like this, the midfield line is one key area that they really need to check, because when they are playing, they get tired so early. I'm sure Hossein Hassam the coach of Egypt to just have to check to see how best he can help the team.
Yeah.
So for that, I doubt. For Egypt, I just feel like maybe the quarterfinals would be the best thing for them.
Quarterfinals.
Yeah, quarterfinals.
Yeah. I mean, did you mention where they'll get to?
Yeah, quarterfinals. I said the best I
best
see
will
them
be-
being able to get to will be the quarterfinals.
Okay.
One Africa, one goal. Feel the passion in your soul.
All right, let's get to the games coming up later tomorrow. But you can also send your thoughts on what you think about the AFCON game so far. For tomorrow, the game starts at 12:30. Is round 2. In Group B, there is Angola taking on Zimbabwe, and then Egypt will take on South Africa. Speaking of South Africa, their head coach Hugo Bruce and Lau Foster got a goal for South Africa in their last game. Let's take a listen to the two. When we come back, we'll talk more about that game.
To avoid to lose points and to start the game against Egypt with 3 points, so we did well. At the other side, we all know what kind of team with 3 points, so we did well. Sometimes I think at the other side, record holder, so that means something. And they have some amazing players like Salah, like Marmoush. So we know them well, but at the other side we are confident. Again, we're looking forward to play that game of tomorrow.
Thank you, Coach Foster. How's the morale in camp?
Yeah, again, Merry Christmas to everyone. Yeah, the morale in camp is good. I think, as the coach said, the first game was very important for us to get maximum points, and I think that helped a lot now going into the rest of the tournament. So, yeah, the morale in camp is good. It's been always good, spirits are high, and we're just confident and ready for the next game.
Tall, the flames of Malawi burn bright.
All right, so that's South Africa's head coach Hugo Bruce and Lau Foster speaking ahead of tomorrow's clash.
Free. The Panthers of Gabon climb the tree. The scorpions.
All right, let's get talking around that game. Let me start off with you, Kobna. South Africa are in the tournament with, the Player State took the large chunk of them playing the local league, Orlando Pirates, Mamelodi Sundowns, and all of that. A lot of people are not really talking about them especially after what they did at the last AFCON. Just what are you expecting against a side that a lot of people also have not tipped to go that far in the tournament in Egypt?
So the South Africans are there are a few countries that what's the name, that mostly use most of the local guys in their games. When you check Tanzania, to the same thing, they use a lot of the local guys in their games.
Yeah.
For South Africa, they use most of the Mamelodi Sundowns players. They even have the goalkeeper Rowan Williams, who is the Mamelodi Sundowns goalkeeper. So for South Africa, they are playing so well. Foster, who plays for Burnley, playing so well for South Africa. The other players also performing so well. For they have a very good boss, that is Hugo Bruce. Hugo Bruce has the experience. He has already coached in the African terrain already, that is Cameroon, so he knows how the African terrain is, so he's able to do so well. And for the players, they are very serious playing, because when the South Africans are playing, you can see clearly what they want to do on the pitch, because they have a very good coach who is able to coach them very well, and that's very brilliant from them. I remember in 2019 when the South Africans had to shock everyone by eliminating, was it Egypt, in the round of 16. That was so shocking. Even in the last AFCON, they also did so well. So it's been some. I just feel like the South Africans are really going to be very stubborn against the Egyptians. But as the coach said, Hugo Bruce said, you don't have to underrate the Egyptians, because they have the likes of Marmoush, Salah. Those two players can just change the game anytime, and if you don't take care, they can just change the game and just win for the Egyptians. So it's going to be a very big one tomorrow for both sides. I'm sure Hossein Hassan will just be sitting down to just know how best he can contain the South Africans, especially the midfield, because they are hard tacklers. That is the South Africans. They are very hard tacklers that if you don't take care, you might even go on. You can go on injury so easily. So you just need to check things very well. So they just need to perform very well against the Egyptians, that's the South Africans, if they want to win. At least I'm sure if they get 1 point in this game, it's really going to help them a lot.
Let me take some messages on YouTube, right? This one says, Merry Christmas to everyone. That's Kwame. 357 says, no break on Christmas. Boys, they like the work. City Media, you do all. So that's Kwame 357. King Doma AJ says, okay, so Kingdom AJ, yeah. 6875 says, Merry Christmas to all of you. Good tidings, great joy, and happiness. With also goes on to say amen with an emoji. And yeah, let me come to you on that. The South Africa clash coming up against Egypt later tomorrow. I mean, it's one of those games that South Africa are actually unbeaten against the Egyptian sides. They've won 4, they've drawn 2. But I mean, these are the stats. Just what are you expecting ahead of that game tomorrow?
I expect a very close game, a very tough game, very organized centric kind of game, because both managers will be very keen to stress on maintaining organization, a high level of organization in this game, knowing very well how good either team or either nation is on the break, and that will likely be the deciding factors in this game. Aside, being able to execute when it comes to set pieces and chances of that sort. So it's likely to be a boring game for the most part. And then maybe the last 15, 20 minutes, so maybe in the last 10 minutes of the first half, and the last maybe 12 minutes of the second half, that's when you're likely to get a bit more open kind of game, and with a bit more excitement.
So would that have
But for the most part, I see it being a congested, tightly fought, tightly contested game with a lot of midfield action, and pretty much they cancelling each other out. And then close to the end, because they'll fancy one team or both teams will fancy their chances of getting a win and pretty much securing their spots in the next round. Then they'll likely open things up a little bit and try to attack a little bit more than they likely would have done earlier in the game. And so I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being a largely boring game, but a tactically fascinating game. So there are some games where it's boring to the neutral and to the naked eye, more or less. But for the tacticians or the purists, it's a great game because of the tactics and the organization. I see this game being that kind of game, or being one of those kind of games. And so, if you're able to execute when it comes to the set pieces, and then take advantage of the breaks when they happen later in the game, I think that's the way that a goal or two will be scored in this game. But if I have to pick between those two, I'll go in for South Africa to beat Egypt.
Okay, great stuff. Kamna, you already picked who to go through, right?
Is it that South Africa will win, or maybe they get a draw?
A draw in that game. Okay. Just quick thoughts on Mamouche. I think he's been the brightest star for Egypt in one way or the other. I mean, he had a lot of chances in that first game they played.
I'm sure he just needs to work on his finishing touches, because he had about like 5 to 6 chances that he had to blast everything away till he had a goal, which was a very good goal from him. He just needs to calm down. I can't blame him so well, because when you go to Manchester City, he's not getting a lot of playing time. So that is also one key thing, that the sharpness is not really there. When you get a lot of playing time in your club football, when you come to your national team, there's a lot of sharpness that you'll be able to do very well. And especially when you have a good coach that is able to do so well. And the Egyptians have a very good coach. So I'm very sure he just needs to work on his finishing touches. And the likes of Salah needs to be involved in the game. He needs to be part of the game, because against Zimbabwe, he wasn't really in the game until the last 10 minutes that we could see him getting some few chances, and fortunately for him, he was able to score. So I guess for Mamouche, he just needs to take his time and be able to convert every chance that he gets.
Okay, So that's the build up to tomorrow's game. Egypt taking on South Africa. The ongoing AFCON. Inside AFCON 97.3. Gabi Offer here. You can send in your thoughts on the WhatsApp line 054996 Let me just run you through the goal scorers at the tournament so far. We've had 29 goals scored in 12 matches. So that's an average of 2.42 goals per match. So 2 goals from Mahrez. There's 2 also from Nicolas Jackson, who plays for Senegal. And for Tunisia, they have Elias Ashiri, who also has 2 goals. For the players who have scored 1, there's Ibrahim Maza, Algeria. Edmond Tapsoba, Burkina Faso. Amad Diallo, who plays for Cote d'Ivoire. Brahim Diaz plays for Morocco. Ayub El Kabi, Morocco. Samia Jaye, Nigeria. Demola Lukman have all scored for their countries. Patton Daka is also in there. Al Foster of South Africa. Oswin Apolis, also of South Africa, in that game. Guys, let's finish off with this conversation, right? I have not heard your thoughts. Okay, so you can send in your thoughts on the WhatsApp line 053996 0539986996. Yeah, let's talk about these changes from CAF that has to do with the AFCON shifting from 2 years to 4 years. Where do you stand on this conversation?
Yeah, I appreciate they changing it and moving it beyond 2 years.
Okay.
But I don't appreciate it moving it to 4 years. I think 4 years is a bit too long.
Oh, okay.
I would have preferred it being staged after every 3 years.
Every 3?
Yes, instead of to make it 3. Yeah, 4 years, I think it's a bit too much. It's a bit too long. And yeah, it makes it a bit difficult to, consistently get that.
Does that dilute the quality of?
No, it doesn't. I mean, hosting it every 2 years kind of dilutes it, because if something is within reach or within grasp, it does not improve on the perception of value behind it. If something is scarce, then the value of the commodity rises naturally. That's how it works. If it's scarce, that the value of that particular commodity rises. There's the reason why you have some cars that are valuable, because yes, they are high performance cars and all. They have all the shiny tools and all, but because they are scarce, and so it makes it even adds up to the value. So for instance, how many people in the world have Lamborghinis?
You can't count as many.
Yeah, you can't count too many.
Yeah.
How many people in the world have, let's say, a Bugatti? Because there aren't so many in the world, because they are expensive, and so because they are expensive, they are scarce. And once something is scarce, automatically the value bumps up a little bit.
Yeah.
But you are not dealing with high-end vehicles or high-performance vehicles. You are dealing with a competition that is being used as a tool to promote a sport, particularly on a continent that really needs that kind of promotion and development of the sport in every facet of the game. So it's not just improving the quality of play, it's also improving the quality of coaching. It's also improving the infrastructure. And in that sense, you need it to be played at a consistent rate, not necessarily at a frequent rate.
Okay.
As has been played every 2 years. Yeah, it kind of watered down the value of the AFCON. But when you move it from 2 to 4, that's times 2.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit too much. If you can find a balance between providing the necessary value or creating the necessary value and not diluting it, I think that's the best situation or solution.
Yeah.
And that's a situation where you have between 2 and 4, and between 2 and 4 you have a 3 in there, and I think for me 3 is the mark for me.
Okay, so one of the main arguments from a former CAF president is Hayatu regarding why the AFCON was being held every 2 years was to compensate for the limited number of African country. I mean, representation when it comes to the World Cup. But now that narrative has changed in a way, because this World Cup will have about 9 or 10, depending on what DR Congo does, and that's why it had to stay 2 years now, and we've held on to that for now for a very long time. And now Patrice Motsepe comes in, and people say that he more or less is in bed with the FIFA president.
Yeah, he is in bed with the
because
FIFA
of
president.
because
of every
and so
change.
so in between there's so I was having this chat with Kobna. In between the 4 years, there's the African Nations League.
Yes.
That you have countries participating in there, so they get to make money. So you play the so if the the next AFCON will be heading. After the 2027 one, you have the 2028
one. Then after that, that's where we go to 4 years.
So from 2028 to 2032.
Yes.
In between there is the African Nations League.
Yes.
Countries get to make money. They prep themselves for the AFCON proper in 32. That's the main idea. You don't think that works?
It's just glorified friendly games. That's what the Nations League is. It's just glorified friendly games. At the end of the day. They just want to spin it and coin it.
So does that dilute the quality of the? Because I'm asking because you have a lot of countries sending or bringing their best.
Exactly. So it's just glorified
with the
mindset
with one eye on what is happening in Europe at that time. You get a point.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just glorified friendly games, and that's why I don't even support the idea. And I even picked up this report that these proposals weren't tabled when CAF held this last extraordinary Congress. So out of the blue, then you just come in and make these changes. So clearly that tells you that he is indeed in bed with Gianni Infantino, which is for me very sad and disappointing that you make these changes and you just want to please or suit a particular continent or a particular body, a particular personality. For me, that's a no, and it is quite disappointing. That's why I'm not in tune with all these changes. Maintain it January, February, no June, July. January, February. That is the AFCON way. At the end of the day, if you want to go in for an African player, how many weeks are you going to miss those African players? Max 3 weeks for the most part, looking at the way the European calendar works. And like I said, it's just the EPL that is making a big deal out of this whole AFCON business, because you don't hear the French league complain, but they have most of the players. They have the most players from those top European nations competing in the AFCON. It's because of the way the EPL has structured this calendar. And now they are even seeing that the way they structured their calendar is hurting their players, particularly when it comes to competing in international tournaments. And that's why these days, or in recent years, they are trying to move away from the Christmas games, those crazy schedules that they have for Christmas games.
So no games on 25th and all of those.
Yes, and to the extent that they will have a situation where a team can get as many as 10 days off within that Christmas period. And so if you are getting as many as 10 days off and you are going to play a game before that and a game after that, more or less you are just missing 2 games. The players, African players, will be missing just 2 games. So where you are missing a player for just 2 games and you are making such a big deal out of it, I think it's overblown. So that whole bit of they'll have a situation where players have to leave their clubs and come and play for the AFCON. It's overblown because these days the way the calendar is structured, it gives room for players to move from their clubs to come and play for the African countries. Because the German league go on a Christmas break, Italian league go on Christmas break, Spain go
Spain are doing about 15 days.
All of them, they go on Christmas breaks. So it's just the EPL, and now the EPL, they spread it out, so there will be long gaps in there where players are inactive or teams are generally inactive. You just go to training and build up to the upcoming game. And so when the league recommences, it's more or less the African players will miss max
Yeah.
2 games. 2 games, and then they return to their clubs.
Depending on
That
what
is if
how
they
far
don't
their
qualify
country,
beyond the group stage. You get it?
Yeah.
And how many of them will qualify beyond the group stage? Very few.
Okay.
And so for me, that argument it doesn't wash for me. It really doesn't wash for me. And on top of that, African players will always be in demand.
Yeah.
Because they are quality.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they are relatively cheaper than European players and South American players. And so they will always be in demand. So that whole notion of if they go to the AFCON, they'll lose out on their place, they don't get a club, is old school mentality, old school stuff. These days, these things, they just don't wash. So for me, I don't agree with the changes that have been made. Yes, the only bit that I agree is that we shouldn't be hosting it every 2 years. That for me, I agree, because hosting it every 2 years kind of dilutes the value of the tournament.
Yeah.
But taking it to 4 years, I think it's a bit of a stretch. And even with the argument that they're making that back in the day, hosting it every 2 years was to compensate for the lack of African reps, or African slots at the World Cup, it still doesn't hold water, because at the end of the day, how many are you guaranteed to get? 9, with the potential to get 10. 10 is still not enough, because Europe has as many as 13, and Africa and Europe have the same number of pretty much the same number of countries, 54 more or less. So we are still underserved, more or less. We are still underserved. So that whole bit of compensating still even doesn't wash. Okay. So for me, I'm not in agreement with those changes.
Come now, where do you stand on this though? I mean, I said a lot.
Yeah, I said a lot. Yeah, for me, I just feel like the 4 years plan was just to make time for the host nation to be able to prepare very well. So now, supposing now I can see that most of the countries,
yeah, because you mentioned it, I'm just reading more prize money, more competition, better infrastructure, better objectives, and the development of stadiums.
Because I feel like mostly when it's done 2 years, countries need to be able to make sure, in fact, they are able to work on their stadiums and other things very quickly, and you don't see the best out of it. But 4 years now, you'll be able to get the time to be able to build whatever you have to do. If you have to get carpet grass, you have to do whatever.
And you know, in the history of the African Cup of Nations, right, I think we've had a lot of the North Africans hosting it more than the countries in the East West.
Yes.
So Egypt, Egypt, Morocco. Then Egypt did again. Yeah. Egypt have done a couple of times. Morocco have done. I'm sure Morocco have done more than.
I feel like maybe Mochepe wants to do it a way that it goes across all the African countries, at least maybe in the next 15 to 20 years.
So
at least
East Africa
will get lots of people to because the next AFCON, East Africa will be those hosting it. So at least in 2028, maybe because of how quickly it will be, I'm sure they'll take it back to North Africa. Then maybe the next 4 years, that is when maybe they can take it. This time let's take it to West Africa. So that a lot of teams will be able to get
the next
time
4 years. Ghana, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire.
Maybe that will be 2032. Yes, we can do that. So that you'll be able to get time to work on your pitches and other things that you have to do to make the tournament very interesting.
Yeah.
But on the African Nations League bit, I just feel like every year being played is also going to worry the players the same way, because now we are not going to see those big friendly games anymore.
The Europeans were complaining about it. I remember Belgium's Thibaut Courtois, who complained that they were being used
every playing because I'm sure they are going to make it a way like the way the Europeans do it, that when you maybe win the African Nations League, you'll be able to get a chance to qualify to maybe AFCON or anything. They will try their best
to bring about incentives.
To make the tournament like an important one for people to not to take it like, oh, it's just a tournament I'm just playing sake. But the 4 years is a good for me. It's a good one for me. It's a good one for me. Yeah, I agree to that. But the African Nations League is one thing that I just feel like it's just going to make the players more tired. And also another key thing is that we are not going to get big friendly games anymore, because now every year, maybe let's take it, if national teams want to play maybe a friendly game against maybe Germany,
the African Nations League will take that
going to take that space. So we might not get, although we might get some big national teams in the maybe in Africa. Maybe we can see Ghana, Egypt playing a friendly game, or playing Ghana, Egypt playing the African Nations League. We might not see the likes of Ghana or maybe Germany or maybe Netherlands playing in a friendly game. So there's a whole bit that I'm sure CAF really needs to sit down let the body or the organizing body just know what we have. The members know what we have to do, so that people will be able to understand very well. Because I'm sure to get to a point, people are going to be very confused about what they want to do all around, and it's going to cause a lot of chaos. So they have to really take their time to be able to work things out to make things very well.
Okay.
And Gabby, just a quick one.
Yeah.
About the scheduling of the AFCON.
Yeah.
I mean, which serious organization flip-flops the hosting of its flagship competition of flagship product?
1 minute is...
1 minute is December,
the
January.
next is January,
the next moment is January, February. The next moment is June, July. We've had 3 different schedules over the past 3 AFCON editions. Like, it doesn't show any level of seriousness. You stick to your January, February schedule. And at the end of the day, the last World Cup showed that the January, February window works, because the players said that, most of the players that were interviewed, the general consensus was that they prefer an in-season tournament.
Okay.
An in-season continental tournament,
so
a competition where you know that you are playing your league games. Then for a month you'll be playing a tournament, a national team kind of tournament. Then you return and you continue with your league, because at the end of the day you're already in the season. You're already in season mode.
Yeah. But
the season ends, you are ready to go on holiday. Then you have to switch back and start preparing for an end of season tournament, and it just messes up your holidays, and you have very few days to recover after that tournament before the start of a new tournament. Imagine having a situation where from August you start your season, your campaign, and at the end of May you shut down. You don't have any off-season tournament to worry about, with the exception of the World Cup if you are an African player. That fits. It fits the momentum of the players. It fits the flow of the players, and it helps out even health-wise, rather than a situation where the season ends, then you have to build yourself back up to go and play another tournament. So the January-February window, it works.
Yeah.
I don't know why CAF is going about this funny business. I just don't get it.
I just feel like as Yao said, we just need to have a very good plan, have a specific month that we have to play. It feels like we are not the other continents might feel like we are not really serious about things, because today we are playing June, July.
The Asia Cup is held in January, February.
June, July.
Why don't they say that they should change it?
That's when you are doing January, February, we are doing December, January. I feel like December, January is the best, because right now we've seen most of the leagues that are on break.
So you take advantage of that.
You take advantage of that to
that
just
break.
play. At least when the players even come back after the AFCON, they'll miss about 2 games.
Yeah.
At most 3. They'll miss a lot of games. Maybe if they are to play in January, February, that's still the season is ongoing. That one they can miss about 5 to 6 games in the January, February. So I feel like December, January is one good place, because for example, if you are playing the Bundesliga, I'm not sure you even miss 2 games. You might miss just 1 game, and you can come back and come and play the rest of the games. So I feel like the December, January, they just need to sit down, draw a plan, have a consensus, and make sure that they have a specific day or specific plan when they have to play the AFCON. Because when they have to do it June, July, January, February, December, January, that is when you see some of the other pundits sit down and just backlash the AFCON like it's not really important, but it's one important tournament that people really need to take very serious.
Feel the passion in your soul.
Yeah, this conversation is actually interesting, you know.
Mountains to the shore.
Yeah, so I mean, the next AFCON is in 2027. Will be held by Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the schedule will now change. There will be a Nations Cup in 2028. The host nation is actually yet to be confirmed. Then after that, there is 2032 and 2036. So 2030, there will be the World Cup. Morocco, Spain, and Portugal. Then after the World Cup in 2030, you have 2 more years for the African countries.
Yeah.
At that same time, I'm sure they'll be playing. They'll also have to play the qualifiers in 33 or 20 whatever to prepare for the AFCON itself. Well, so let's see what will happen though.
There's another argument that's being raised that the 4 years thing is to synchronize the African system or African competitions with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Because you have a situation where Europe, they do 4 years. South America too, I think they do it 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, they also do it 4 years. Now, in synchronizing it, it's all well and good. But you have a situation where there will be an off season or multiple off seasons where there will be a glut of continental championship, all taking place at the same time.
Yeah.
All taking place at the same time. And so, how does that do well for the eyeballs when it comes to your tournament as AFCON? It doesn't help, because at the end of the day, there will be multiple or there will be split attention, because at some point there will be a situation where Copa America is taking place.
Yeah. The
AFCON is taking place, and Euros is also taking place.
Yeah.
So how do you make the most money when it comes to getting the eyeballs and the viewership? So if you look at it from multiple angles, it just doesn't work.
Okay.
Oh no, but I disagree with you on that, because I feel like the next Euros will be in 2028. The next one will be 2032. Euros that same year.
2032. So it clashes
It clashes with AFCON.
So this is the time period. 2032. Euros will be played around June, July. AFCON will be played maybe, let's take it December, January.
They are moving into June, July.
They want to move it to June,
July.
And that is one thing
From
that
2028, it goes back to June, July.
and that's one bad thing that they have to
so
be
that's the
checked,
point.
because if they had to do that now, there's no way. Maybe let's be truthful. There's maybe a Portugal Spain game being played, and at the same time maybe there's an Egypt South Africa game or Egypt Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Which one will you watch?
Africans will watch the Egypt South Africa game, but right now you are not just selling to African audience.
Yes.
You are selling beyond Africa,
and
so in that sense,
it's not even Africa.
So in that sense, if you have a situation where you have Portugal and Germany and Egypt and South Africa, Africans will watch the Egypt South Africa game, but beyond Africa, you won't get enough audience.
Even with the Africans, you are even saying it might not be. It could even be possible that some of the Africans will not even watch the Egypt South Africa game. We'll all go and watch the Portugal Germany game.
You see, that's the thing.
So
the AFCON has been successful over the years because CAF has managed to get it to a point where you are marketing it beyond Africa.
Yeah. And they're able to grab all the attention.
Yes. To the extent that people are even, some European-based journalists and reporters and bloggers and all, they're even saying that if you would think that there's an international break because of the AFCON, that you wouldn't even notice that it's as if the leagues are all on break, and it's like an international FIFA window.
Yeah.
It's because the attention is all on the AFCON. Yeah. But if you have a situation where Copa America is going on, Euros is going on, AFCON is also going on, 2032, the Olympics will also be going on in August. Because 2028 Olympics will be held in early. 2032 Olympics will also be going on in August.
Yeah. So that's too many competitions around.
How does this work?
Well, let's see what the plan is from CAF. I'm sure they have taken into consideration all of these things that we have highlighted. Tournaments clashing and all of that. Yeah, so that's it. But we'll be keeping tabs on that. So 2028, the AFCON will be taking place every 4 years. So 2032 and 36. So going. Well, thank you so much for joining us today inside AFCON 2025 on Citi 97.3. I'm Gabi Affair. You heard from Yao J Minta. You can find him on X, Yao Mint YM. Kobna Mafo also on X, Kobna Mafo. Just go there, leave your thoughts. We're back same time tomorrow, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. on 97.3 inside AFCON 2025 with me, Gabi Affair. Enjoy the rest of your programs. Merry Christmas to you all. Do take care of yourself and bye-bye.